line valve. Again, I'm checking to make sure that my flow is in the right direction from the reverse osmosis unit through the flow restrictor valve to the drain. Now, I have pre-mounted my screws on the wall. Okay. The screws are each sticking out about 1/8 of an inch. I will mount the screws into the back of the framing here. The screws are exactly 11 inches apart and 17 inches off the floor of the cabinet. I'm now going to place the feed valve. The white line will come out of the T valve on the feed to the post filter. Then we'll come across and go into the valve on the top of the tank. I'll open the valve on the tank now that it's there. Okay. Then the last line, of course, is the blue line, which will go to the faucet after we install it. We can put right onto here. That will be easy to access. So I'm going to now hang the reverse osmosis unit on the screws that I put in previously. The unit is now mounted on the wall. I'll take the drain line, put it around behind. Put these lines just out of the way so they're not visible. You can only shorten these lines up. Get it in your way. There we go. I'm going to move this tank over here. Okay. That looks good. Compact. Sit into the corner. Now, we're now ready to install our faucet. For that, we'll go back up top. Checking our inventory. This is your faucet for the reverse osmosis water. This beveled washer goes on next. It has a plastic protective coat on it to protect the finish until installation. We could take that off anytime now. I'm going to leave it on for a moment. That goes on first. Then this locating washer goes on. You'll see the 4 little posts on it. They go up against the decorative washer to hold it exactly in place. A large black flat washer goes on next. And then this assembly will go into the holes we're going to place into the counter. Underneath the counter, first the black locating washer will go on. Then the lock washer will go on. And then this nut will go on. That will all screw up tight, compressing the faucet onto the countertop. And finally, we will then take the blue line. We will trim the end of it nice and square. We will put the fitted nut, the compression nut, on first. We will then take the compression ring and put it on with the fat end down towards the nut, the beveled end up towards the end, like this. If you can take a close-up shot of that. As you'll notice, it's beveled in like this. The fat end down towards the washer, the more narrow end up to provide the seal as the washer screws on and brings that up into place. That will screw on to the bottom of this post after the post has been put in place on the counter. Now this is your assembly as it's going to sit in the counter. I want to show you this here where it's much easier. Oh, and of course we'll put this insert in there. So that will all go on like this when we're under the counter. To drill the hole, we take our drill and a 1/8 inch pilot hole. I previously marked the spot where I want this to go by taking a tape measure. I also looked underneath the counter to make sure that we have 2 inches of clearance to the wall, 2 inches of clearance or more. Don't go too far from the faucet. So don't go too far for the faucet from the sink. I mean, for instance, if I put the faucet here, then it's going to spray onto the counter. The faucet has to be close enough to the sink to spray and dribble into the sink. So you want the faucet to be 2.5 inches. This particular measurement here is exactly 2.5 inches from the lip of the sink. 2 inches from the edge of the wall. 2 inches or more out from the edge of there. Should have at least a minimum of a 2-inch clearance all the way around. First, we're going to take our drill. We're going to drill a pilot hole. Try to drill the hole straight. Now we're going to take and put a larger bit in. The final hole will be a 1/2 inch in diameter. As you see, we put our 1/8 inch hole for a pilot hole, and we drilled a 1/4 inch hole. Now I'm going to put my final hole of a 1/2 inch. The reason I do it in stages like that is so we don't crack the top of the counter and chip it. Doing it this way, it's far less likely to have any chips in the countertop. Make sure that our size is good. Oh, well, perfecto. Now, we take our decorative washer, we peel the protective film off of it, we put it on. Then we take our locator washer with the little knobs pointing up to hold the decorative washer precisely in place. We take our gasket, we place it on there, bring it up against the flat washer, and we put our unit right where it's going to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten the tap into place by placing the black keeper washer onto the post. Then the lock washer onto the post. The keeper nut onto the post. And we'll screw that up into place. This is a real installation we're doing here, not a posed installation. This is actually an install going into a client's home. We're just filming it as we do it. which has made it somewhat more cumbersome. You fortunately won't have to film your installation while you're doing it. I'm just going to tighten this nut up. So I've already taken and placed my compression nut, my compression fitting, and my plastic insert are all in place. So I'm now going to take this and I'm going to put it on the bottom of the post and screw this nut up into place. Okay, so we've now installed the faucet. We have our faucet line coming down. I'm going to cut the faucet line back in out of the way. We'll take the little blue insert out of the end of the post carbon filter here. And we take our faucet line and we put it in to the post carbon filter. We have now completed the reverse osmosis installation. That is the complete installation of the reverse osmosis unit. We have already purged our filters and we have purged our tank. So all that is required now is for us to pressurize our system and fill the tank, and we are ready to start drinking purified and safe water. I'm now going to turn the feed water valve on by screwing the filter or the needle valve out of the pipe. I'll bring it out. I'm listening for the flow of water. I hear it. There it is. I'm still screwing it out. I feel it's starting to tighten up a little bit now, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to turn it back in about a half a turn. We are now feeding water into our system. We are now charging our system. Now the thing to remember is that a reverse osmosis unit produces the water at a very slow rate. That's why you have the buffer tank there to draw your water from. It will produce water at a rate of about, depending on the water pressure and water quality, 1 to 2 gallons an hour. This particular unit has a 50-gallon per day membrane. So under prime conditions, it would produce 50 gallons or 225 liters every 24 hours. The world is not perfect, neither is the water pressure or the water quality. Because of that, I doubt that this unit will actually produce a full 225 liters, even though that's what the membrane is rated for. It's rated under prime conditions. Realistically, a 225 liter unit today will probably produce about 150, maybe as much as 175 liters of water every 24 hours. Thank you. I hope you have a fun time installing many reverse osmosis units. This is David Jolling.